Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Chris Schenkel greeting you from the beautiful Brunswick alleys in Paramus, New Jersey. This week on Championship Bowling, a familiar face, a familiar bowler, the young man from Texas who is trying to make it 6 weeks in a row. A big welcome to Bill-Lillard. Bill?
Thank you, Chris. Glad to be back.
Well, Bill, as last week you were wearing the red trousers, you're wearing them again on this show.
Try it again. Hope I get a little better score this week.
You know, I had to bring in the trousers because the fellow we're going to introduce next is often referred to affectionately by bowlers and all of us covering bowling as the Little Tailor. He's the pride and joy of Rahway, New Jersey, a great bowler from the East Coast, Marty Cassio. Marty? Marty, wonderful having you on Championship Bowling.
Pleasure to be on it.
Well, maybe we can not only get bowling tips, but tailoring tips as well.
Oh.
Here's what happens on Championship Bowling, Marty. Bill has been on so often he could tell you what happens, but I will in this case. If you win the first game, you get $50. You win the second, you get $75. Now, the winner of the third game gets $100. And the winner of the match in total pins gets $500. If you lose, you get $200. If you can bowl a perfect 300 game, Marty, we'll be happy to give you $5,000. Any questions?
Be a pleasure to roll it.
All right. Well, in the rolling of the coin, who won the toss?
I won the toss.
What do you elect to do?
I start on 4.
You're going to start on 4, which means that, Bill, you'll be leading off again.
On 3, right?
All right. You're going to try to make it 6. You're the challenger. Shake hands and come out bowling. Bill-Lillard and Marty Cassio. All right, here's Bill-Lillard trying to stay on Championship Bowling for his 6th consecutive week. He's on here. What he would like to do is continue winning. He's won nothing but money and a host of friends from coast to coast. On 3. Hey, and the game is underway. In there for a perfect pocket hit, and Bill-Lillard marks in the first frame with the strike. Here is Marty Cassio, known as the Little Tailor. Actually is a tailor. Notice his stance. Feet sort of wide apart. He's way inside the alley on his start. Cassio on 4. There was one that may have come up just a little bit in the pocket, and the 4-pin stands. Marty Cassio, the 48-year-old veteran who was born in Palermo, Italy, now makes his home in Rahway, New Jersey. He is truly one of the small fellows among the championship ranks because he's only 5'5" and weighs 140 pounds. Size in this sport does not mean much. Anybody can bowl. And Marty Cassio marks with a spare in the first frame. Marty Cassio. As in this week's show, you are seeing the East Coast versus Texas. As Bill-Lillard comes from Texas, Fort Worth, but bowls now out of Chicago, Illinois, this is truly an intersectional match. Cassio now moving over to 3. Hey! And Marty Cassio finds the pocket with a 1-3 pocket hit. That gives him a strike in the second, 20 pins through the first. The winner of the first game gets $50, the second $75. Lillard on 4. And it's Bill-Lillard who doubles up quickly here to quickly jump out in front by 1 mark. Incidentally, between the 2 lines, each week on Championship Bowling, you will notice either a minus or a plus. A straight line without a mark after it, of course, means that things are even up. Lillard up on 3. Ooh, there's a ball that slid past the pocket and left the 1-2-4. That's what happens when you release a ball and it does not come up. It slides past the head pin. So Bill-Lillard, let's see what he can do with the spare. This is his first attempt at covering one in this first game as he struck in both the first and second frames. Lillard takes that long approach, holds the ball high and aiming. Beautiful coverage. Bill-Lillard in the third with a spare. Through the second, he has 47. Marty Cassio, C-A-S-S-I-O, as you can see. He has his right heel practically off the approach. Now he draws him. Cassio to the line. Real nosedive. A nosedive. Almost had a rail there. But he comes back smiling, saying, now he only has to face the 4-pin. But that in itself is an obstacle to overcome, as Cassio here probably came up with a ball that was thrown a little bit too slow. He is an in and out bowler. I'll tell you more about that later. Spare for Marty Cassio in the third, giving him 40 pins through the second. 40 pins through the second for Bill-Lillard through the second. He has 47. So after 3 frames here in the first game, it is still a 1-mark advantage held by Lillard. Cassio now is up on 3, way inside, moves up to the line on the outside. Ball did not come up into the pocket, and the 2-5 stand. The 2-5 remains standing as Marty Cassio is bidding for the first time on championship bowling. He has been around for a great number of years, started bowling in 1934. He has been a tailor, a custom tailor here in the East for a total of 25 years, yet makes all the tournaments. Cassio going for the 2-5. Oh, he didn't like the way he released the ball at the line, and he has an error in the 4th frame. A break in Marty Cassio's game in the 4th frame. He has 67 through the 4th. Lillard on alley 4. He's got it. Bill-Lillard with that wide sweeping hook puts on quite a show, not only in the delivery of his ball and the stuff that he puts on it, but also in his approach as he moves up to the line. Pay particular attention to it from time to time, as he now will undoubtedly rub his left heel. There he goes, rubbing his left heel, which is one of his habits. And then when he gets up to the line, he puts on the brakes with the left heel, and his right leg comes way high, practically over his head. Bill-Lillard putting together 2 strikes for a double. And after 4 frames, he is up 2 marks, or approximately 20 pins. And Marty Cassio now, as the pressure is on here in the first game, really has to make a comeback and start marking. And a strike here would be perhaps just the medicine he needs. Cassio on 4. Ooh, on the Brooklyn side. Pulled the ball a little bit at the line. So the 2-5 remains standing. Marty Cassio, who had an open frame in the 4th, has a total of 67 pins through the frame. He had a good 10-year average up to 1946 in the ABC of 203. He had a 3-game high recently here in the East Coast in the famous Matawan Classic of 803. Nice conversion by Marty Cassio, and that's the way these pro champion bowlers do it. Marty is down 3 marks after 5 frames. Marty Cassio now working on a spare in the 5th, is up on alley 3. Oh, looked mighty good, but there is a 4-pin that would not go over. Marty, in talking to him, was praising the tremendous bowling interest that is prevalent and present here in this great state of New Jersey. As we're speaking to you from Paramus, New Jersey, about 30 minutes from New York City, just across the very famous landmark, the George Washington Bridge. Cassio now going for the 4-pin. Has he got it? He clears it. And that is a spare in the 6th for Cassio. He has 86 through the 5th. For Bill-Lillard, he is working on a double. 27-year-old Bill-Lillard, who in succession defeated Buddy Bomar, Andy Verapapa, Buzz Fazio, Harold Asplin, and last week Joe Willman. Now trying his shots, matching those with Marty Cassio. Ooh, the 4-pin. The 4-pin stands as Bill-Lillard, who has that wide sweeping hook, came in high, and the 4-pin stands. Bill was working on a double. 2 strikes in a row for you novice bowlers. It gives him, of course, 96 pins through the fourth. Let's see if he can cover the 4-pin to get his spare in the sixth frame. Will he? He does. Bill-Lillard with a spare in the sixth. 116 is his total through the fifth, while Marty Cassio has 86. The winner gets $50. Lillard up to the line, alley 3. There's another one that slid past the head pin. Bill-Lillard, not satisfied with the way he cranked up the ball at the line, coming back to the rack, and again he leaves the 1-2-4. The 1-2-4 stand. Bill-Lillard, who won the Masters tournament in Chicago in 1952, fellow who won his first title in Houston, Texas, rolling 1633 in 8 games. And he's been a real good shooter ever since. Lillard on 3. Gets him. Bill-Lillard with a spare in the 7th. He now has 133 pins through the 6th. He is up 3 marks as Marty Cassio steps up to the rack to get his ball, which incidentally is a 3-hole ball. He rolls a semi-spinner, which means that the track or path of the ball as it spins is outside the thumb hole. Cassio on 4. Oh. As you note, Cassio is an in-out bowler. In other words, his way to the left of center. As he starts his approach, comes up to the line, and as he comes around, he practically shoots that ball on a terrific angle directly at the pocket, which, of course, if this happens to be your style, you know that you have to be tremendously accurate in order to be effective. On this shot, he is way, way inside, going across alley for the 10-pin. He has it. A spare for Marty Cassio in the 7th frame, giving him 105 through the 7th. Or rather, through the 6th. My error. This is the first game, and despite a margin that one bowler may hold, an open frame and an opponent coming back doubling up or rolling a turkey can mean a tremendous amount and can easily erase a pretty good lead. Cassio to the line on 3. Slid past that pocket, not in there. So there is the 2, 4, and 5 standing. The 3-pin cluster, as Marty was working on a spare in the 7th frame. Marty certainly keeps busy not only as a tailor here in the East, but also in bowling, as he bowls on, from time to time, 3 or 4 teams in New York and New Jersey. He's in the same league, classic league here in the East, as Junie McMahon. Cassio for the cluster. He gets him. A spare for Cassio in the 8th, 122 through the 7th. Bill-Lillard, working on a spare in the 7th, is still up 3 marks. Lillard on alley 4. Real power on that ball, and because of that spin and power, he really gets a lot of mixing action among the 10 pins there, and you see the result. Lillard with a strike. Lillard on 3, the alley he seems to have enjoyed over the past 5 weeks. And he proves our point by putting together a double, striking in the 8th and 9th, as Marty Cassio, who is down, and he's been down before. He's a bowler that has tremendous accuracy and got a big heart. So we can expect things from him as he is rolling against a spare. There was a nosedive, and the 6-10 remains standing. Marty is having his problems. He started on alley 3 in this game. On 4, he has had an error, the only open frame that he's had thus far here in the first game. Let's see if he can get the 6-10. And a spare for Cassio in the 9th, giving him 140 through the 8th, as Bill-Lillard goes up 4 marks through the 9th frame. Lillard a few weeks ago stunned everyone by picking up a spare in the first frame and then striking out the rest of the way, rolling a 290, and it was that 290 that sort of helped him defeat Buzz Fazio. And that type of throwing will beat almost anyone. Big strike for Marty Cassio on the 10th frame. This means that he has 2 more balls coming, and here is a chance for some count, as he has 160 through the 9th. A strike up for him in the 10th frame. Cassio on 3. Ooh, not a solid hit in the pocket in the 4-pin stands. Marty Cassio was working on a strike in the 10th. Now we'll get 1 more roll here in Paramus, New Jersey, which means that he can cover the 4-pin, and it will give him a total of 180. Marty going for the pin. He has it. And Marty Cassio winds up his first spot on championship bowling and the first game of the 180. Here is Bill-Lillard, who is working on a double on 4. Hey! Bill-Lillard, as he appears on this show week after week, I believe he begins talking to himself a little bit more after moving away from the line. There's a tremendous amount of pressure on these bowlers, especially if you come back week after week on this show. Came up a little bit too high. A little bit too high on the 7-pin stand. So Bill has another roll coming. He has 212 through the 9th. His best possible would now be a 233. Correction, make it a 232. Oh, I can't read. There it is. He gets his spare and he shoots a 232 in the first game of 3 here in the East, as compared to Marty Cassio's 180. We'll be back with the presentation along with the second game after this brief but important message. Well, Bill, I've heard that every Texan had a great deal of determination. You certainly had in that first game, so consequently in winning by 52 pins there is $50.
Thank you.
Marty is waiting for you there on the bench. Are you ready to go?
Fine, all ready.
So are we with game 2, Bill-Lillard and Marty Cassio. And here in the East, Marty Cassio, who's down 52 pins after the first game, has a real loyal cheering section rooting him on. He is up on 3. Marty left a dinner bucket. That's right, the 8-pin is back there. Correction, the 8-pin is not back there. As we often say, this is a game of angles. And the same is true here at watching on alley 3. Cassio is up on 3. This is his second ball. He'll go for the 2-4-5. Will he get it? He has it. Marty Cassio marking in the first frame of the second game with a spare. Here's Bill-Lillard, who shot a nifty 232 in the first game. He is up on 4. 10-pin tap. Bill-Lillard, who with arms outstretched came back from the line but couldn't do much about toppling over the 10-pin. Bill now bowling out of Chicago, Illinois. Doesn't care who he rolls against here on championship bowling. He's been against some real tough ones like last week, Joe Wilman. Bill going for the 10-pin. He has it. And it's a spare for both bowlers here in the first frame of the second game. Lillard shooting a 232 in the first game and winning the $50. Lillard now moves over to 3. He has done well, scored well on alley number 3 over the past 5 weeks. And perhaps we jinxed him as his ball slid past the pocket, past the head pin. Bill throws a real power type of ball, one that he cranks up at the line You can see him with his hand more or less underneath the ball come up as he delivers the ball at the line. Puts a tremendous amount of spin on it, so consequently when it does come into the pocket, it provides a great mixing action. Lillard going for the 1-2-4. And he picks up a spare in the second frame, giving him 17 pins in the first. Cassio, who is bowling on even terms here in the second game after being down 52 pins. Can this little 5'5", 140-pounder make the comeback? Well, they've done it before on this show. Cassio on 4. The 2-5. The 2-5. Marty is not necessarily a spot bowler. He's more or less what we call an area bowler or a pin bowler. He draws an imaginary line from the foul line down to the 1-3 pocket, and he moves in and out up to the line. He overcame a physical handicap in his right hand to become a top-notch bowler. Nice conversion by Marty Cassio as he gets a spare in the second, giving him 18 pins through the first, so he actually leads by 1 pin. Marty Cassio, Rahway, New Jersey, born in Palermo, Italy, who has quite a tailoring establishment in Rahway, New Jersey, and who has it staffed heavily enough so that he can travel all parts of the country to roll in all sorts of tournaments. 10-pin tap. 10-pin tap for Marty Cassio. Week after week, as you have watched these star bowlers from all parts of the country perform, in watching their performance, you undoubtedly have come to the conclusion that the conditions of these alleys are championship conditions. And that is true because they are fast and very slick, groomed to perfection for a true test. Cassio going for the 10-pin. Ball wouldn't come up, just skidded on down, and there is an error in the third frame. So for Marty Cassio, he has 46 through the third. Here is Bill-Lillard working on a spare in the second. Lillard on 4. Ball that was way up high, broke on practically the opposite side of the 1-3 pocket and the 3-6 stand. 3-6. Well, bowling being the family game that it is, ladies and gentlemen, and right here we'd like to take our hat off to the women who have made it a family game. And it's a game that's universally enjoyed. Lillard to 3-6. Okay. Lillard, picking up his spare in the third, goes up 1 mark by virtue of the spare as he matched it with the open frame that Cassio had in the third. The second game, if you win it, it's worth $75. The third is worth $100. The match is worth 5 bills or $500. Bill Lillard striking in the fourth frame, giving him 55 through the third. Will he find that angle he wants on alley 4? Whew, the 410 rail or split. Marty has been coming back from that line very, very disgusted. Just can't seem to get things rolling for him. So many factors in bowling that have to be operating consistently and simultaneously that it is a difficult sport. And is going for the 4-pin in the hopes of slipping it over to pick off the 10. 2-pin stand, and it is Cassio with his second open frame on the split with a 54 through the fourth. Lillard, consequently, with a strike in the fourth, goes up 2 marks, or approximately 20 pins. Cassio over on 3, back for that lengthy approach. Spiller strike. That may be the one that Marty needed. Marty with a strike in the 5th. Let's see if Bill Lillard now. If Bill Lillard can put together a double. did. Bill-Lillard put together a double, striking in the 4th and in the 5th frames, and that makes him go up by 3 marks. Bill-Lillard, who is up 3 marks here in the 2nd game of this 3-game match, is up on alley 3. Hey, and there is a turkey or 3 in a row for Bill-Lillard. And incidentally, as we speak to you from Paramus, New Jersey, this would be a perfect opportunity to point out that Paramus in Indian means turkey. So that is the first Paramus of the 2nd game on the part of Bill-Lillard. Here's Marty Cassio looking for a double. He is up on alley 4. Will he get it? Only the 3 pin standing as he came up high. Marty still looking for that correct angle on both lanes. Here in the 2nd game, he has had 2 open frames, an error in the 3rd, and a split in the 4th. Marty will be moving around, so to speak, trying to find the spot. I notice here on 4 he has come toward the middle a little bit more. Oh! There's a ball that just slid by. It would not come up in the least bit. Skidded by the 3 pin, and there is another error for Marty Cassio here in this 2nd game. And Marty goes down 5 marks, or approximately 50 pins, but his followers here in Paramus are rooting for him. How about you at home? There is the 2, 4, 5. And Marty just can't do anything right, it seems. Marty, who only recently put together 3 games, 277, 278, and 248 to shoot an 803 in the Matatuan Classic, which is the big classic league here in the East. But here on Championship Bowling, it's something different. The cluster is covered. And Marty Cassio, with a spare in the 7th, now has 82 pins through the 6th. Here is Bill-Lillard, who has a turkey going for him. 3 strikes in a row. Will it be a 4-bagger? Ooh, a powerhouse. Real smash. And there is the 4th consecutive strike for Lillard, who is appearing on Championship Bowling for the 6th week. And he is outdoing any of those who stayed on for a string, like Ned Day, who was on for 4. Stan Gifford was on for 5, but this is Lillard's 6th. Lillard now up on 3, looking for a 5-bagger. And he was just 1 pin shy of a 5-bagger, as the 4-pin wouldn't go over. And the Brunswick automatic pin setter beautifully goes into operation here in these championship-type alleys, as Lillard, with a strike in the 7th, try to cover the 4-pin, giving him a spare in the 8th. He is up 6 marks through the 7th. Lillard on 3, gets the 4-pin. So, for Bill Lillard, through the 7th, he has a pin total of 164, spare in the 8th. Marty Cassio, who has had 3 open frames after 7 frames here in the 2nd game, is up on 4, shooting in the 8th frame. He's working on a spare. One that came up high and crossed over. So on the right side, he has the 3-6. The 3-6, as Marty now has 100 through the 7th. Marty would like to get now what he did at one time in stringing together 22 consecutive strikes, as he rolled a 280 and a 300 game in succession. Cassio converting the 3 and 6 for a spare in the 8th. 100 through the 7th, a spare in the 8th. Bill Lillard with 164 through the 7th, a spare up for him in the 8th. He is up by 6 marks, or approximately 60 pins. This is the largest margin we've had on Championship Bowling. Bill Lillard, 2 weeks ago, was down 43 pins going into the 3rd and final game. Came back to go ahead 86 to win the match by 43. Hey! There's a big one. big strike for Marty Cassio in the ninth. And here in this second game, it is his second strike in 9 frames. So Marty is having his share of tough breaks. Here is Lillard now, up on 4. A little bit high. Not a full pocket hit as the 7-10 rail is up. The 7-10 rail. This is a split that is seldom converted. Occasionally at an ABC tournament, you'll hear of a bowler getting the 7-10. Let's see what Bill will do. He takes out the 7-pin, and through the ninth, he has a total of 191. 191 for Bill Lillard, which means that he is up 5 marks because of Cassio striking in the ninth. Lillard on 3. There is one of them. A strike in the 10th. He now has 2 balls. The roll, and then the count. Bill Lillard of Fort Worth, Texas, father of a son. It's a tiny little fellow, and who in 6 weeks, I'm sure both the little fellow and his mother are mighty happy of Pop, because he has gone over the $2,000 mark in money won. He just doesn't seem to stop. Lillard on 3. Way high. The 6-10. Bill is developing rapidly into a mover-arounder after he shoots the ball. Well, it won't be long we can compare him with such fellows as Buzz Fazio, Steve Nagy, and a few of the others who really cavort on the approach. Lillard going for the 6-10. He has it, and he shoots a 211 here in the second game. He'll couple that with a big 232, giving him a 2-game total of 443. Now here is Marty Cassio, whom everyone is pulling for now, as he is really down 5 marks here in this game. Cassio on 4. Even the kickback won't put the 6-pin in there to knock the 10 over. So it is Cassio, who rolled a 180 in his first game, who is trying to shake the angle problems that he's been having. His best here, if he were to cover this spare and then strike with the next ball, would be a 160. He gets his spare. Now he has a bonus ball coming. He has 140 through the ninth. Since he has a spare in the 10th, he gets 10 plus whatever he gets on the next ball. So if he should roll a strike, that would mean he'd add 20 to the 140, which would give him the 160. And Marty Cassio gets 8 of the 10, and he finishes with a 159 in the second game of this 3-game match to Bill Lillard's 211. Now we'll be back with the presentation along with the big third and final game after this important message. And ladies and gentlemen, because Bill Lillard rolled a 211, he won the second game of this 3-game match here in New Jersey on the East Coast and on Championship Bowling. So congratulations, Bill, along with $75. Bill, I guess the old saying is true that no 2 alleys are alike.
Well, that's for sure, and we're proving that tonight. We're both having a little trouble. Marty a little more than me right now.
Well, let's see what happens here in this big third and final game, okay? Marty Cassio and Bill Lillard. And the big question is, as we start this third and final game on Championship Bowling, will the little Taylor from Rahway, New Jersey be able to come closer to Bill Lillard, who leads by 104 pins? Oh! Lots of action in those pins as Bill Lillard strikes in the first frame. Now here is Marty Cassio. And everyone is rooting for this little fella, who is down 104 pins going into this third and final game. A little bit bit high, and he leaves the 6-10. Bowling has intrigued some 20 million bowlers from coast to coast, and very often you'll see a champion bowler who one night will roll 803 games, and on another occasion might not have the same type of skill and breaks in the game. There, Marty shows his skill at covering the 6-10 pin, and it's a spare for Cassio in the first frame. Marty Cassio, who has a 216 average in 99 games in the Matawan Classic League, which is the best league here in the East. Cassio on 3. Does he have it? Oh, it slid past again. Wouldn't come in. And the 2-5 stand. The 2-5. Marty, in working in his tailor shop one day, tripped over some debris in one of the aisles, fell through a plate glass window, and to shield his face, held his hand up and consequently practically cut off his right hand. Cassio on the 2-5. He gets it with a spare. As we were saying, Cassio severed the tendons, and a great deal of surgery was done, and now, in rolling his two-finger ball, he has sort of a withered hand. Lillard on 4. A double. Big double for Bill-Lillard, who has put together 2 games, one of 232 and one of 211 for a 443 total, as we are in the third and final game. Bill-Lillard on 3. Well, he had his rooters here, hoping that he could strike 12 times for the $5,000, but the 4-pin stands. Bill came very close to it 2 weeks ago against Buzz Fazio. He really did. He rolled a 290, getting a spare in the first frame of the game. That was the third and final game, and it helped Bill win the 3-game match. The 4-pin has been cleared, and it's a spare for Bill-Lillard in the third. He has 49 pins through the second. Here is Marty Cassio, who has 18 in the first, a spare in the second. And this would be a pretty good time now to get into that pocket and see all 10 of them go. Brook one side. Not enough mixing action down there, and you see the rail that I guess all bowlers would like to walk away from and forget about. But when you're in a match game against other star bowlers, you got to face it. And Marty is going to face it from the inside of alley 4. The 6-7-10 split. Ooh. Cut that 6-10 nicely, but not finely enough. And the 7-pin stands. There is an open frame for Cassio in the third, giving him 44 pins, while Bill-Lillard has 49 through the second, a spare in the third, putting Lillard up after 3 frames by approximately 20 pins or 2 marks. Cassio, like Joe Willman, who was on Championship Bowling a week ago, is a gum chewer. There it is! There it is! There it is, and Marty Cassio on alley 3 gets his first strike of the third and final game. Lillard up on 4, has 1 strike on the alley in this game. See what he does now. Well, Bill is right up that line, sweeping those pins when he practically has to hold back so he won't hit the wall here at the Brunswick alleys. He really has been moving around a lot. Great rooter, and we've seen him now for 6 consecutive weeks, and he has a great deal of intestinal fortitude. That's a nice way of saying big heart. There's a double for Bill-Lillard, striking in the 4th and 5th frames. Now Marty Cassio. Hear his rooters here in the crowd say, "Come on, Marty, double up." Willie. He was up high again. Up high again. And the 4-7 stands. 4-7 stands. Cassio now going for the 4-7. Let's see if he covers it. Certainly does. And Marty with a spare in the 5th now has 64 through the 4th. He is down 3 marks. Bill-Lillard has already won 125 in winning the first game by 52 pins and coming back in the second and winning by the same margin to lead by 104 going into this 3rd and final game. And what a margin to try and overcome. Cassio on 3. There's the 258. 258. And Marty, who is a pocket shooter, like Joe Willman and like many of the other bowlers, is having all sorts of trouble at finding it. These alleys are slick, they're tough. And if a bowler's the least bit off, they'll magnify it about 10 times. Cassio moving up on 3. Good. And it's a spare for Cassio in the 6th, giving him 81 pins through the 5th. Here is Lillard now. He has the double going, shooting in the 6th frame on alley 4. Well, Bill had that wide sweeping hook working, but it worked overtime and crossed over, leaving the 10 pin. There are those of you that probably got a big thrill out of throwing a wide sweeping hook. It's the best of the strike getters, but it's a very difficult one to master. There's a spare for Bill Lillard in the 6th frame, giving him a total of 118 through the 5th, compared to 81 through the 5th for Marty Cassio. Lillard on 3. A real smash and another strike for Bill Lillard, who now has 138 through the 6th, the strike working for him in the 7th, while Marty Cassio has 81 through the 5th, the spare in the 6th. Now here is Marty Cassio of Rahway, New Jersey, who is finding these 2 alleys certainly different. And that's true wherever you go. No 2 alleys are alike. This is the one that has really plagued him throughout the entire show. 4. There again, got a little bit too much on the ball. It came up high, as Marty is now faced with the 3 pin. The 3 pin is left. Here in this 3rd and final game, he is down 38 pins. Overall, in the 3 games, he is down 142. Wow, that is some margin. Cassio going for the 3 pin. He's got it. There's his spare in the 7th, giving him a total of 100 through the 6th. For Bill Lillard, he has 138 through the 6th with a strike up in the 7th. Marty was telling me that his hand hasn't caused him trouble. He's made compensations for it, the way he releases the ball, and generally he really releases it well. There was one that did not give him a solid pocket hit, so he is left with the 4-7. The 4-7, and he has 118 through the 7th. Don't forget, friends, get out to your favorite alleys and bowl. And that goes for you women, too, watching championship bowling. After all, you have made it the family game that it is. In fact, you've had quite a bit to do at dressing up the bowling alleys from coast to coast. Yes, sir. There's the spare for Marty Cassio in the 8th frame, 118 through the 7th. Bill Lillard up 30-plus pins, working on a strike in the 7th frame. Bill is rolling on alley 4. Get in there, Bill! And Bill occasionally will come up with that high water gesture at the foul line. Those red trousers really come up, the bottoms over the ankles. No, there's no water here in the East. I'm not trying to infer that, but it's a few of Bill's mannerisms as he releases the ball. Let's see if he gets the 6 pin. Certainly does. Spare for Bill Lillard in the 8th, giving him through the 7th 158. And he is still up 3 marks. He is up just about 40 pins. Let's see what he does now in the 9th frame. He has put together 200-plus games, 232 and 211 for a 443 total. This is the 3rd and final game worth $100 and also match for $500. There's one that slid. One that slid past the pocket for Bill Lillard. And as he was working on a spare, he gets everything he picked up with the first ball, which was 7 pins, so that means plus the 10 gives him 175 through the 8th. On a spare, you get 10 plus whatever you get on the next ball. Whereas a strike is different, you get 10 plus whatever you roll on the next 2 balls. And Bill clears the alley of the 1-2-4 and a spare in the 9th for Lillard, who has a possible total of 225 if he were able to strike the rest of the way. Now here is Marty Cassio, who has really had his problems this week on championship bowling. He's on that troublesome alley 4. The Brooklyn side can't even get him there, as the 6-pin is up. 6-pin stands on alley 4. Yes, on championship bowling we have kegglers from all sections of the country. And the history of this sport is color-laden as much as any other sport ever. Cassio going for the 6-pin. He has it. And for Cassio, it is a spare in the 9th, giving him 137 through the 8th. He is still down 3 marks. Speaking of the history of bowling, every country on the continent of Europe had some form of bowling. Most generally, and of course more on the recent side, is the German historical angle, where they called the pens they had kegels, and consequently kegglers are these fellows. Ah! That is a real kegler pitch indeed by Marty Cassio as he gets his 2nd strike here in the 3rd and final game. That is only his 2nd strike here in this game, but it coming in the 10th frame gives him 2 more shots. He has a possibility here of shooting a 187. Cassio on 3. Ooh. Some spilling there, but the 7 wouldn't topple over. So 1 more roll for Marty Cassio. Actually, bowling at one time had quite a religious beginning too, because it was in its infancy a religious sport in Germany. As the Dutch brought it to America, it was a 9-pin game, and to circumvent a law forbidding it, they added another pin to make it the 10-pin game that we enjoy today. There is the 7-pin cleared from the alley. And for Marty Cassio of Rahway, New Jersey, he has a 177. Here is Lillard working on a spare in the 9th. He has a strike in the 10th. And as we said a bit earlier, he has a possibility of rolling a 225, which plus the 443, the total of the first 2 games, would give him a neat 668. Well, Bill needs 2 more in order to make the grade. If he does it, well, it'll be 225. Lillard going up. Hey! And another powerhouse smash. Bill Lillard putting 2 together. He has 1 more roll. Bill Lillard, who is going to be back here another week. This was his 6th consecutive weekly appearance on the show. And because of his winning this match, in addition to winning the money, he's going to get another shot. He's got a tough opponent coming up. Hey, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. And there you have it. The 3rd and final game as Bill Lillard turns in a tremendous 225 coupled with a 232 and a 211 to Marty Cassio's 177 in the final game. Now we'll be back with the big presentation after this brief but interesting message. Well, ladies and gentlemen, final look at those scores here on Championship Bowling as Bill Lillard makes it 6 weeks in a row, shooting a 668 to Marty Cassio's 516. Well, Marty, it was sort of a tough show for you, wasn't it?
I can't believe it myself.
Well, we'd like for you to believe that I'm giving you $200 as your share in losing. It was nice having you on the show, Marty.
Thank you.
Marty Cassio. And now for you, Mr. Lillard.
Oh, this is...
Well, here is $100 for shooting another big game in the third, and for winning the match in total pins, $500, and you'll be back next week.
Fine, Chris.
Marty and Bill, good luck. See you soon. Fine. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed the show, Championship Bowling, as Bill Lillard will be back for the 7th consecutive week, and the Texan will be faced with the Missourian, the fellow who won the All-Star 2 years in a row. You all know his name. Bill Lillard next week against Don Carter. So until then, this is Chris Schenkel speaking for Championship Bowling, saying thanks and so long.